Grace be unto you and peace from God our Father and from the Lord Jesus Christ. I was glad when they said to me, "Let us go into the house of the Lord." I'm Father Steve Sellers, and thank you so much for tuning in today for this brief daily message of hope. And my prayer, as always, for every one of you, is that you are finding yourself right now in a place of hope, and that you are looking and seeing opportunities to enjoy the wonderful gifts and creation that God has given to us. For despite everything else that's going on in the world, God still sits enthroned on his glory, his throne in heaven, and he still watches over us, and we're still part of his creation. I want to talk just a few minutes today about the glory of God's creation. I was reading through the Psalms again this morning, as I like to do, and I got to Psalm 19. And the very first verse in that psalm just literally blows me away, where it says, "The heavens declare the glory of the Lord, and the firmament shows his handiwork." That is such a powerful verse because God has truly declared his glory to us in all that he's created. None of this was made by us. Politicians used to say that a few years ago. You didn't build that. Well, guess what? Look around. You didn't build this either. Look at your own body. Look at the ground. Look at the earth. Look at the sky. You didn't build that. It doesn't belong to you. You didn't create it. God did. And he created it for us. We, despite everything else that we can do as human beings, we still can't reduplicate or replicate what God has done. He has given us this great creation. And when I read that verse, Psalm 19, verse 1, I think about the time when I was very young, and I know you've done this too, just looking up in the sky at night and just marveling over what you see above at night and what you see around us during the day. The animals, the plants, the foliage, the greenery, the scenery, the colors. God is the one who's created all of that and given it all to us to enjoy. The problem is we get so fixated on our own existence and what's going on within us that we don't see the other things. We don't see the beauty. We see the world through the own confusion in our eyes. We look at things with the misunderstanding that we have about ourselves. And we just assume that what's going on, the turmoil and the anxiety within us, is also going on all around us. Now, it may be that things are confusing, and it may be that things are chaotic. It may be that cities are burning down. It may be that all of this is happening. But that's not the final story. It's not even the real story. The real story is that this earth, including us, we belong to God. He created us. He put us here for a reason. We have a purpose and a plan for being here. And it's not our own purpose. It's not our own plan. That's when we think that way, that's our own selfishness and self-centeredness dominating all our other thoughts. God has a purpose for us to be here. Nearly all of the world's religions, and I've studied the religions of the world and taught about them. I found that among the 40 largest of the world religions, there is a similar ethical summons given to the people who are here. And the ethical summons is expressed two ways. Either what you find hurtful to yourself, don't do to someone else. Or the positive spin on that, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We have been given an ethical summons, and the world's religions, most of them, have that in their sacred teachings, that we are to be compassionate and kind. The underlying foundation of human nature all over the world is compassion. And the world's religions teach that. We are to do to others as we would have them do to us. We are to be kind. If we want them to be kind to us, we treat them with kindness. Or if we find something hateful or hurtful to ourselves, if we don't like it, if it's going to hurt us, then don't do it to someone else. That's the ethical summons. And it's imprinted upon all of God's creation. I was reading today about Voyager 1 and 2, the two spacecraft that were put into to space in September and August of 1977. Well, both of the Voyagers, number 1 and 2, are now somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 to 14 billion miles away from Earth, traveling at between 35,000 and 38,000 miles an hour. Both of those little spacecraft have achieved solar release speed. They have broken free from the solar system. They are now in interstellar space. Both of them are still sending back data to us. We're finding out a lot about the heliosphere that surrounds our solar system and the components that are involved in interstellar space. What a magnificent creation. To be 14 billion miles away from Earth and still traveling in God's creation, knowing that there are an infinite number of solar systems and galaxies like ours, the Milky Way. And we've been able to send 2 little projectiles just out of our little solar system in a corner of the Milky Way galaxy. God created all of this and gave it to us. And there is beauty in that. Somebody once told me that God has given us 2 books that we never think about. And we should, because they're very important. Because both of the books that God has given to us declare His glory and majesty and compassion and beauty and grandeur that He has given to us to enjoy. The first book is His creation. We see it all around us. God has been so merciful, and I've got a cat that's joining me again this morning. Hi, Kitty. Part of God's creation. We have rescued cats, and this is one of them. She's coming up to take over here, and I think she wants to make a little appearance this morning. And this is Precious, who likes to talk. She likes to talk when I turn on my system here. But God has given us His creation. That's His book to us. We need to read it. Look upward, see what is around us. The heavens declare the glory of the Lord, and the firmament, the vast expanse of creation, shows His handiwork. His autograph is on everything. His fingerprints are on everything. And we are to enjoy it. That's one of the 2 books He's given to us. And the other one is imprinted inside of us. It's our conscience. We're hardwired to be able to recognize the things of God within us. I used to teach my students that our conscience is God's voice within us, guiding us into what is right and good and true and merciful and compassionate, because that's who God is. He's kindness, He's mercy, He's love, He's compassion, and He cares deeply for us, and that's hardwired into us. And so the little song I played at the beginning of this was actually written in 1901 by Maltby D. Babcock. The words are, "This is my Father's world." And the music was as an old English melody. The words are, "This is my Father's world, and to my listening ears all nature sings, and round me rings the music of the spheres. This is my Father's world. I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas. His hand the wonders wrought. The heavens declare the glory of the Lord, and the firmament shows forth His handiwork." The great news for us and the word of hope for us today is we are right in the midst of God's handiwork, and we are the pinnacle and the peak of what God has created. We are the crown of His creation, and we've been placed here for a reason, His reason, to be loving and kind and compassionate one to another, not seeking our own self-destructive ends, but helping others along this path of life. And just know that the Lord is with you today, and He loves you. God bless you. and I will see you right here again tomorrow.